I'll hit record. There you go. Yeah, we're just getting ahead now. Uh,
All
parallel.
rolling.
Oh yeah, this is nice because it's like 2 weeks ahead. The last two I did were like next week's episode. So,
Oh, and I'm
but
sure you knew Jack Albertson, right?
oh God, yeah, that's one of the guys I wrote a book about for the trivia.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, he's definitely been listed. So
Very small part in here. Very
yeah, but I notable though. But he is the titular
kind of like in the shelter.
Genie.
Like he didn't do much in the shelter either. I kind of forget sometimes that he was in that
Oh
episode.
yeah, I didn't even list that. That I did not list. I listed his other stuff. I guess I should add that to the trivia then. Oh, the whiteboards is all weird again. I want to use classic whiteboards, and it's giving me weird whiteboard. Well, tell me how this looks when I post it. I guess bigger font. I gave myself an edit point yesterday because of I come back to the whiteboard. It's just all
Yeah.
goofy.
See, this was the only reason I was hoping we had another person in here because this is kind of a long intro. I hope I can do it.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I can do it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, this is a long intro. It's hard to format in this box, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Even when I was reading your notes, I was like, I had to shift the screen.
Can you see all of that?
Yes.
Okay. And now we're going to do another experiment before I actually start the show and see if it's still there when I come back, which it's not. This is where, although if you just want to bring it up on your screen, maybe that's the best thing to do.
You mean just go to the Wikipedia and do it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That
Okay.
might be the thing to do
Okay.
because
Okay.
yesterday I have 3 edit points actually in that episode because we had a minute of tech weirdness and I think I have to go searching for a couple obscenities. Or maybe I don't. I left them in the Twilight. I mean the Twilight movie, like the vampire one. I left Luke's obscenities in there because I just couldn't be bothered to edit the April Fool's episode.
Hmm.
So I don't know. It's probably the point where it doesn't matter. I don't know. I could just yeah.
And then
But
I got the page ready for when after you do trivia and when we go to the
okay, great, great,
opening
great.
narration.
Do I list this as an explicit podcast? Now I might have gotten to the point where I just whatever and changed the listing.
Why I just heard what I forget what episode or what one I was listening to, and you said you were trying to keep this one clean, weren't you?
That
I mean,
usually is.
I don't get too F bomby on here anyways, but
No, usually it's Luke who forgets it. He'll apologize on it. Dude, that's like the sixth one you've let loose on this episode, you know? He just he know maybe I mentioned this to you before, but he noted that whenever he'd say an obscenity, he'd see me do this, and he was like, it looked like a I'm disappointed in you face, but I'm just looking at the clock, so later I'll have like a general idea of where to edit, you know. But he's like, it looks like I'm disappointed in you
yeah.
for
Oh, and I'm glad I finally got to say my name on here. For the longest time, it just said Rams fan. I finally went in here, edited my name, so it
Oh,
actually
right,
shows
right.
my name.
Yeah, because actually some people do watch this on YouTube or do it on YouTube, which I'm not. I'm very
Yeah,
much
I'm
not.
totally audio guy.
Yeah, same here. Like even podcasts I really like, I do not go I've
Yeah, I'm
never watched
sorry I don't support you guys on YouTube. I think I'm subscribed. I just
I
don't always
don't
go there.
I don't care, so that's fine. I don't podcast on, but yeah, some of the numbers are actually not bad on YouTube because
No, but yeah,
obviously.
you know when you debut a video, like
Yeah, I
because you
didn't.
still have the old channel, the Sci-Fi Sanctuary
That's
channel.
that's still the name of it. Yeah, so whatever. But let's see. Well, Twilight Zone hasn't had so many hits on YouTube.
And I had to put the genie from Aladdin in my
Yeah, yeah,
avatar
yeah, yeah, sure.
because it's a better genie.
Although the theory is when we get a lot of views, like Black Christmas has a lot of views, uh, which is probably people like thinking they're watching a different, going to watch the movie and then they don't get it. The Space
Yeah.
1999, I feel like people would be, yeah, somebody's been listening to Space 1999, the podcast 1999 on YouTube. All of them have like, I mean, not a ton of views. Wow, 537 views for Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's definitely people thinking they're coming to see the movie or something, or it just ended up in a bunch of suggested
You
views. I
should
don't
do
know.
you should do the clickbaity thumbnail or
I
like shows a
used to.
picture.
I used to, and I realized I was actually kind of being or like you're joking about it, but
Misleading.
I
Yeah.
did that for a while, and I
Yeah.
now I make
No, I
sure to make
understand.
yeah now I make the thumbnail the podcast artwork, right? But yeah,
Yeah.
the Sci-Fi Sanctuary that was a lot of the
Oh,
old ones.
can I mean I was gonna ask you, is it okay if I ask you like I got to ask you something. We already got the recording going. Sorry, I'm getting all mush mouth here. I
Oh,
wanted to ask you this before you hit the record button, but your last a cold Disney podcast, did you upset the co-host or was she upset? It
she
just
did. Yeah, actually, if you when you listen to the parallel, I think I talked about it with him. But I see. Yeah, so I think she was a little upset because after the end, she was kind of like, "Oh, I felt like I didn't get to talk that much." Which I think here one thing I would have felt bad if I invited her, but her publicist like sent me a message like this person would like to do your show. I'm like, sure, but I think she thought it was going to be an interview show.
oh
Yeah, like I think she thought we were going to interview her and she was going to talk a lot, but that's not that podcast, right? That's we're doing like this. We're doing a movie breakdown, so
yeah.
you get like one
No, it
third of
just
the
got really
talking.
weird where it's like, well, I'm a woman. It was for me. It wasn't
Yeah,
for you guys. So I was like, oh.
yeah, because we were saying that the whole time, like I thought we were actually pretty positive about that movie,
Sure. And then, but
because
kudos to the Wally one, that you got another international person on there.
oh
I've already
yeah,
forget her name because she's only been on one
Una
episode.
Hayes. It's a little hard to
Yeah.
remember her name at first. I got it now, but yeah, yeah, she's cool. We actually did like like a month
No, I
ago.
heard that. I heard that too.
Brian
You
and
didn't mean to record that, but it actually recorded.
oh right, I cut it out of the YouTube because that's what
Yeah.
I said. Do you mind if I leave in the Patreon? And she said that was fine. I think that's in the recording, but
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. So that was kind of cool. Yeah, I thought that worked because I that especially after the I call it Disney one, I was a little bit like because I haven't done new guests in a while, or at
Yeah.
least not personally. Mark's brought in some people, and I guess Luke's brought in a person or two, but um.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I was, like, oh, I hope this goes on. I thought it went quite well, so that's good.
Oh, and did you notice on your Occult Disney podcast the podcast went 2 hours and 53 minutes,
Yeah,
but
that's
like
because.
the
Oh, go ahead.
but like there was dead air for like the last hour and a half.
Wait, wait,
There was no audio.
wait.
If you go on the Spotify one, I listened to your Occult Disney on Spotify.
Okay, on Spotify. Hold on, let me look at. Actually, that's notable because that was a cool episode. Which episode was that?
It was the Lizzie McGuire one. It says it's like 2 hours and 53 minutes, but
Oh,
it's only like
okay.
an hour and something.
I know what happens sometimes when that's because the Atlantis episode ran really long because that's the timing of the Atlantis one.
Yeah.
So the program just must have like decided to default to that length and I didn't catch it. So I
Yeah.
can actually fix that pretty easily. Um, yeah, I'll do that after this, of course. But yeah, that's an easy fix. But yeah, that's what usually I catch that, but I guess I did not catch it for that one. And I I can't listen to all the podcasts I make. So Caught Disney is one where I actually don't listen to this. I'm like
Well, I
one day
guess
I'll
I can
get
always shoot a message to you if I notice something because I stay
okay.
pretty up to date with all your guys'
Cool,
content.
cool. Yeah, because I don't have time to listen to all my stuff because I like to listen to other podcasts. Now, Call It Disney is the one where I'm like, it's so dense, the conversation's so dense with stuff. I'm like, I don't want to listen to it right after. I'm like, well, one day I'll just start listening to them.
Mhm.
Because that and also that one, it started we originally he was just a guest spot on oral hygiene, and then we started doing them here and there, and now we're doing them almost every
I was
week.
going to ask, he's not the same conspiracy theory dude that you had from season one of the Time Enough podcast, was it?
Yeah, 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 yeah. Because
Oh, he is? Okay, maybe
that is.
I just like him differently now, but I forget what episode was on, but I just wasn't vibing with whatever he was saying.
The Purple Testament, I think. Yeah.
Is that from season one?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
And
maybe
there's
it was
another
that.
one. Yeah. It's kind of weird because three of my podcasts I talk to very progressive people, and the other one is conspiracy theorists. But I mean, I think from my perspective, I'm like one, I'm the production guy. Two, I think I'm coming in as sort of the quote unquote straight man. Like I
Mhm.
won't just sit there and be like, oh, stop talking about that stuff, right? But I'm not the guy that's necessarily on
Maybe I
that.
was just in a cranky mood that day, but so far all the Occult Disney episodes, he's been great.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, yeah. Um, you mean Juan, the guy was on the Emperor's New Groove?
No, I was talking to your regular co-host.
Oh, he was
Isn't
no,
he?
he's never been on the Twilight Zone one. No.
Okay, okay. So
Yeah,
Juan was on it before then.
Juan was on it before,
Okay.
and then
Oh yeah, he was fine. I was just sad you guys didn't like, or you didn't like Emperor's New Groove as much as I did, but I was a kid when it came out. So
I think I said in the podcast it was just like
David
David
Spade, I
Spade
think
drives me
would
nuts.
killed it
Yeah,
for you. Yeah.
David Spade killed it for me. That's right. So I am curious what I'll think of ones like Home on the Range and Brother Bear because I haven't seen those before.
And Brother Bear, that was like Rick Moranis's last film before he went into
And it's him
raising
and
his
Dave
kids.
Thomas basically doing the McKenzie brothers, right?
I've never seen it.
I believe
I
Dave
just know
Thomas
that
is there,
trivia fact.
and they're doing their McKenzie brothers thing with Moose, I think. Again, I haven't seen it, but I love SCTV. I'm sure you've heard me rant on about SCTV
Yes.
before. So, um, and hey, the McKenzie brothers aren't even my favorite part of SCTV by a long shot, but I like them. That's fine. I want to see them in a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we can go ahead and bop on into this. Unless you have another question. Questions are
No,
fun. I like questions.
I guess we can hop on into this and we can start dreaming about genies.
Yeah. Okay. Give it a 5-second pause and then I will get into it. Hello, welcome to I was about to say Pied Enough Toddcast. I've been having I can't talk anymore. I think my brain's rupturing.
Tied enough podcasts. So we're
Mm,
gonna redo that, right?
yeah.
Okay.
Welcome to Time Enough Podcast. It's where we delve into all of the episodes of The Twilight Zone and beyond. This is Matt here again for the 100th and I don't know, 14th, 15th time, something like that. 14th, I think. Uh, Coming back. It's Sean. Hi, how are you?
Doing good. Just woke up from a long dream about genies.
Ooh, okay. I thought you were going to tell me an actual dream. I was going to be curious. I had an intense dream waking up, but it's one of those ones where it's like, boof, gone, you know? But I know I was up to something because it's
Always a
morning in
shame. It's always
Japan.
a
Yeah.
shame when you forget your dreams. You're like
Yep.
so into it, and then you just, man, what did I dream about last night? And then you just can't remember
That's why you
sometimes.
keep a dream journal, which I don't do so well anymore, but I was pretty good about doing for 3 or 4 years. So that's enough fodder, you know, to work with, I guess. I mean, that shouldn't be unsurprising for a guy that does a Twilight Zone podcast that he'd be writing his dreams down, right? It's probably what Rod Serling did. I got several episodes out of that. One of these writers had to do that, you know?
Yeah.
Well, not didn't have to, but they could have. Um, so you've got I Dream of Genie today. Here for I Dream of Genie, spelled with a G. I'm actually looking at the TV show as well, which is spelled with a J. Genie is in her name.
Yeah, and Google will try to correct you when you're searching for this with the show I Dream of Genie.
Oh, it didn't bother
They'll try
me
to
with
be like,
that.
"Oh, do you mean the show?" I'm like, no, I don't mean the show.
Maybe that's because I'm in Japan and I'm on a Japanese computer, so it doesn't really. I don't know. Google weird. Now I have to see if it corrects me. I don't think it did that for me. I dream of Genie. It kind of wants to correct me. It probably
Yeah, like
knows I've
even when
already.
you spell with a G, yeah, it's like it shows you
Yeah,
no, it's with a J.
well, it goes back and forth. The first one's J, the second one's G, third one's J, fourth one's G. It's going back and forth on mine. So I was just curious, yeah, because I wonder if different regions you get like different Google results, you know.
Yeah.
But yes, this is the first. I guess this is the first actual like comedy episode of the season. You were here for Jespel, which I don't think it quite counts as a comedy episode. I don't know. What do you think?
Uh, I mean, it's oh God, what's that? It's that country bumpkin type episode,
Yeah, that's
but
Jespel,
it's
right?
also got supernatural elements,
Yeah.
like with transformations into animals and witchcraft and
I mean, so is this, but yeah, I feel like this is the
yeah.
first like actual like comedy episode. Although I didn't laugh at it, which might make it better, you know?
Yeah,
Like I don't think it was trying that hard to be funny, which kind of let the story groove a little better than something like Mr. Dingle, you know?
just to be warned for the viewers whoever listens to this out there, I'm gonna go full spoilers on this.
Yeah, I
That's
assume
okay.
that people
We're gonna spoil everything.
I assume people have watched this, and if not, there you are warned. Or if you
No,
didn't, you know.
it's just funny when you read IMDb reviews and they have to warn you if there's a spoiler ahead or something like that. I mean, I understand because maybe you are looking at reviews and you don't want to be spoiled, but again, I question why would you be looking at reviews if you don't want to be
Well, I
spoiled.
will
But
say there's podcasts I follow, and sometimes I kind of want to hear their discussion, but I haven't actually seen the movie or whatever. I'm like, you know what? I'm like, I just listened to a podcast about the 2007 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I was like, I think I mentioned that in an episode, but it's like, I'm never gonna watch that. I'll just listen to the podcast, you know?
yeah,
TMNT, yeah.
yeah,
And
that
then
was my childhood jam, and I've been through so many incarnations of that.
well,
Jeez.
there's plenty of turtle stuff I love, but that particular movie, it's just the animation is
That's
aged
the
so
Nickelodeon. Is that the Nickelodeon version or is
No,
that the
no, it's
live action one?
pre it's pre Nickelodeon. It's but it's CGI, everything
Oh, is
CGI.
that the one where they have the nostrils?
I
The not
think
like
that might
oh,
be the
you haven't
Michael Bay
seen it,
ones.
so
That might be, yeah. Well, I looked up images and I
okay.
don't think it's a nostrils one. I think it's before. See, everyone's forgotten about the 2007 one because it's forgettable and the animation's not good. The story's
Yeah.
okay, the animation's not good. So,
I'll stick to my video game on the Switch that has all the classic NES ones.
that sounds like a winner.
Good
Yeah.
times.
Oh God, the underwater level. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yes, but it's I Dream of Genie today. I guess spoiler on your end. I'm just curious how you might like quality wise rate this episode.
Bottom three.
Bottom
And
three
the
of all of them.
entire however 156 episodes is it?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, bottom three. Wow. Okay, I'm not
And
going that low.
but I
So
will say, not as bad as my first viewing. This was my second time ever viewing it, and not as bad as my first.
yeah,
But
I don't
yeah, I
know. I didn't have too bad a time. I thought it was kind of like mid-range comedy episode, but again, maybe I was just in a good mood when I put it on, you know?
I really hate, and I'm already getting into some spoil territory here before we even get to the trivia. I
You can.
really hate dream sequences in shows.
Oh,
I
okay.
I really don't care for that. I don't know. That's just a pet peeve of mine.
Mm.
Like I know this whole episode wasn't a dream, but he had about three dreams throughout this episode, these what ifs on his wishes. And I I don't know. That's the dream sequences are not for me. I wish I could explain it better. I sometimes I feel like those are kind of lazy.
Yeah, I guess the thing here is they'd already done, was it Genie in a Bottle, Message in a Bottle, whatever it was, the last Genie episode. I mean, we're clearly trudging the same ground here. So
Man in the
something,
bottle. Yeah.
yes, man, in a bottle. So something has to be different, you know?
Yeah.
So I guess that's it. And I also like the, okay, it's like a, I saw it as like he's th thought experimenting his one wish, not three. And I was like, okay, I can appreciate that. So that didn't bother me too much, which might be why I'm a little, you
I
know,
just thought of
again, this
something.
isn't one I'm not going to run out and watch this one again to anytime soon. It's not going
No,
to be like in my like I
no.
want to watch Twilight Zone. Let's put on I Dream of Genie. That's not going to happen, to be honest. So, um, but I didn't have a bad time watching it. You had a point there.
I just stumbled upon something on season 4. We got people making deals and wishes. Pritchard's devil, guy's dealing with the devil to make his newspaper better.
Right.
Jezebel sells her soul to
Okay.
win the love of Billy Band.
Bill Ben, yeah. I was going to call him Jeff Bank
You'll
again.
have
Back
Cliffordville
bank.
coming up later on in the season, which is
Right.
also somebody wishing for something.
I think that's in
You have
two
this
weeks.
episode. So I'm already counting about 4. There might be some I'm forgetting.
Out of
Was
what,
that
18 is it? Yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe they, you know, they were happy their show had come back. Their wish had come true.
Fulfill
Yeah,
your
or
dreams.
just in there. I know it's 1963. You know, Kennedy has not yet been shot. It's Camelot era. Maybe people are feeling positive and want to make wishes. I don't know. Uh, like maybe you had to be there. Uh, Speaking of 63, let me do that trivia. Original air date was March 21st, 1963. Script is by John Furrier Jr. This is his only script in the zone, though he also wrote for Kung Fu, Bonanza, and 12 episodes of something called Insight. Don't know what that is, but he wrote for it a lot. Frank Gist starred as an actor in films like Miracle on 34th Street and Operation Petticoat. About the time of that submarine comedy, he became interested in directing. He did that here, along with shows like Peter Gunn, Naked City, and Route 66. George P. Hanley was played by Howard Morris. Morris was in the public eye as Ernest T. Bass on the Andy Griffith Show and Uncle Goopy on Your Show of Shows. That's the Sid Caesar one. He also did a lot of voice work, most notably as the Jet Screamer on the Jetsons. Yes, he was the vocalist behind Eep Op Ork Ah Ah. He'd also take on directing with episodes of shows like Bewitched, the pilot episode of Get Smart, and he did films such as With Six You Get Egg Roll. Guess that title hasn't aged that great, but I do remember watching a lot at my aunt's house as a kid. That was, I guess, the kind of comedy she was into.
With
Patricia,
6, you get egg roll.
yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I want a spring roll, I think, more than an egg roll. Hmm.
Healthier, probably. Well,
Yeah.
is it really? They're both kind of deep fried.
Yeah. Vietnamese spring rolls, those are awesome with the fishy sauce. I don't like fishy stuff, but the Vietnamese fish sauce is good. Um, Patricia Barry was Anne Lawson. She took the Broadway to guest role trajectory and just had a whole bunch of little roles. But one of her parts was in Twilight Zone, the movie, and that stands out for obvious reasons here. The genie was Jack Albertson. You know this guy. He was Grandpa Joe and Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory and Manny Rosen in the Poseidon Adventure. And if you want to get classy, he was a featured actor. Excuse me, he won a feature actor Tony and a supporting actor Oscar for the various versions of The Subject Was Roses. He'd later win an Emmy for Chico and the Man, making him one of only 24 people to achieve the triple crown of acting, meaning that Oscar, a Tony, and an Emmy. James Milholland was Masters. It's a small role here, but eagle-eyed viewers will remember him from season one's The After Hours. I spell checked into the After House. I wonder what an After House is. Okay. uh, Sean, I believe you have the prologue on your screen because Zoom is annoying. So, in that respect, the whiteboards are annoying at this point in time. So, go ahead and give me that prologue.
Meet Mr. George P. Hanley, a man life treats without difference. Oh, sorry. I think there's a spell check here. Okay. Meet Mr. George P. Hanley, a man life treats without difference, honor, or success. Waiters serve his soup cold. Elevator operators close doors in his face. Mothers never bother up to wait for their daughters he dates. George is a creature of George is a creature of humble habits and tame dreams. He's an ordinary man. Mr. Hanley, but at this moment, the accidental possessor of a very special gift, the kind of gift that measures men against their dreams, the kind of gift most of us might ask for first and possibly regret to last. If we, like George P. Henley, I am totally butchering this. I apologize, viewers. Okay. Mr. George P. Henley, we're about to plunge headfirst and unaware into our own personal Twilight Zone. I
All right.
apologize to all the viewers. You might
All
want
the
to go double
viewers.
check that and look that up
If
because
you're
I
if
totally
you're
butchered
listening
that.
though, if you're just listening, it sounded like you were a pro. So
No, I
if
mean,
you're on YouTube, you might have gotten a couple edit points.
it's
But
weird how
that's
they spell difference on here. Defrence. Is it
deference.
deferent? Oh, deference. Okay.
Deference. There we go. Yeah.
See, I learned a new word today. Yeah,
Okay.
so
I know sometimes you look at these things and you just start reading ahead of where you actually are, and then your brain breaks, you know?
I promise I will make up for it, people. I'm going to do a closing narration later today, and that will be much better. It's much shorter.
Okay. Oh, you can have that if you want it. Yeah. So yeah, speaking of the other I Dream of Genie with a J, I remember seeing a lot of that as a kid. But I haven't seen it since I was a kid. Like Bewitched is not the one that my local UHF had on it. It was I Dream of Genie. So
I feel like
uh
the only reason I saw I Dream of Genie is because it was on those Nick at Night, like in the 90s. It was always on Nick at Night, along with Happy Days and um, God, what were those other shows that were on Nick at like what's that one? Alice and
right,
Gilligan's
right.
Island and
Yeah, see, mine's a little different. I grew up in Atlanta where so my family didn't have cable till I was like a senior in high school or something. So, but TBS is actually a UHF station in Atlanta. So you could watch TBS just as a regular station, and they would show stuff like this, and that's where I saw my Saved by the Bell and Gilligan's Island and all that was on TBS, just because Atlantans got it, even if you didn't have cable.
now
So.
is a UHF one of those turn TV knob things, the ones with the built-in knob, you know.
UHF are the higher number frequencies. Like, if you're in channel 2, channel 8, channel 11, you're on a VHF? Geez. I haven't thought about this for a while. I guess it's not a thing anymore for the most part. I guess you still have a
I
little
just
bit.
remember as a kid, I had this really old school TV. I don't know what year it was from, and I had to turn the knobs, and I can only get like 12 channels on it.
Yeah, oh, I certainly had to turn the knob to get, the Twilight Zone and I Dream Genie with a J. But
Yeah.
yeah, UHF is just the higher numbers. I guess the frequencies change when you get to these, like 17 was RTBS, 30 maybe was the UHF, the PBS. There were two PBSs. One was UHF, one was VHF. I'm getting that wrong. Sorry again. Things I haven't thought about for decades. Um, so yeah, I guess I'm trying to come into this episode. Here's my thing on season 4 that keeps happening. I keep thinking Russell Johnson is back, speaking of Gilligan's Island, and he's not. He's not coming back to the zone.
Now,
He
did you
was in,
confuse them with one of the office workers?
like half of
Like,
the
is that
office workers. I wrote a note here. It said maybe I'm racist against white people, but these guys all kind of look the same.
that looks like the same office I've seen in every Twilight Zone episode, like the one with Mr. Beavis.
Oh, I'm
There's
sure.
going to be
Yeah.
another one in season 5 with kind of stopwatch. It just looks like the normal
A penny for your thoughts. Yeah, that was
yeah,
probably the same
just the
office. Yeah.
normal everyday office, you know.
It's just like how we keep seeing the Willoughby. We saw Willoughby a few weeks ago with No Time Like the Past is clearly that same
I'm glad you guys pointed
set.
that out because I never put the two and two together with that.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
like, oh, this just looks like a totally not Willoughby City, but kind of like Willoughby, but like it's not Willoughby, but it is, I guess.
No, there are plenty of things that do pass me by, but in this one, I'm like, oh, that's the same camera glide that from
Yeah.
Willoughby. So I was like, that's almost the same shot, like
Oh, and
completely.
note to go back to my wishing thing with season 4, no time like the past, want to change history. That's almost like wishing, isn't it?
Yeah,
Kind of.
except he does it science, well, with
Yeah.
weird science, but technically that's because of his own with we're all, not because of a supernatural wish. But
Yeah.
it's just like science is magic, right? That sort of
And
thing.
that's the one where because I haven't seen that in a while. That's the one where he gets the school burned down, right?
Yes, that's
Yeah,
correct.
so see what happens when you try to change history, folks.
Yep. So this guy doesn't have to worry about that. What's his name? No, Ronald is the actor.
George P.
George
Henley.
P. Henley. How did I forget that name already? Dirt. Um,
What's the
but
P stand for? Paul, Peter.
he's a kind of a weird one. I've mentioned a few times already about the old Hollywood versus new Hollywood acting, where this is kind of the same guy as Robert Duvall a few weeks ago in Miniature, but just it doesn't have that. I mean, it's just a completely different style of acting, isn't it? Because this is also kind of the Office reject guy, it seems like, they might like him a
Oh,
little better than they liked Duvall's guy, but
I might be really picking on him, but the way it's played out in this episode, I'm kind of leaning towards 40-year-old virgin territory.
yes, yes, yes. Where here it's more of a comedy episode, whereas in Miniature, that's just like, oh, this guy. It was kind of your feeling.
That
My
guy
feeling.
is like set and needs to have things kind of like his world, his
Yeah,
way.
and that is a testament to Duvall's acting because I mean he's playing an unlikable character and he's just really depth charging it, right?
And if you think Robert Duvall was an unlikable character, you just wait till you get the Incredible World of Horse Ford. You just wait till that, okay?
Okay. I think that's a requested episode too, so we'll see how that goes.
That is also in the bottom three.
Oh, okay. Oh, so season 4 is not your jam. What is the other one then? The Bard?
Oh, I
What's your number 3 on
people are gonna
bottoms?
hate or people are gonna hate me for this, but it's the obsolete man.
Ah, okay.
I
Yeah,
have no
see,
problems with the I'm getting tongue tied on this episode today. I have no problems with religion, but that episode is just a little too preachy for my liking.
yeah, I'm gonna be a that's probably a top tenner for me. But I had not seen it until like maybe a year before I start. No, it's around. So when I first got the Blu-ray set, but I hadn't quite started the podcast. So right before I started the podcast, I watched The Obsolete Man. Yeah, a few years now. Have to remember that sort of thing. Uh, but yeah, this guy doesn't make me like want to. This guy doesn't make my skin crawl. George B. Hanley doesn't make my skin crawl like in Miniature. So
No, and like he doesn't bug me to the extent that Robert Duvall did. It's just I don't know. He's kind of got a Beavis aspect about him, you know?
yeah, Beavis was much more likable, of course. Um,
Mhm.
although then we got the office lady, Anne. I was like, this is a weird. thing.
She's in a sausage party. One
Y-
woman.
yeah,
She just
yeah.
all
Well,
dudes.
she's a bimbo at a sausage party, and at a company dinner last year or 2 years ago, one of the guys got too schlonkered, and oh yeah, we were exchanging Christmas gifts, and every time a gift would come out to one of the office ladies, he'd be like, "Sexy dress." I'm like, "Oh God, that happened in this episode." I'm like, I'm pretty sure that counts as harassment. Does now for sure, you know.
Yeah.
Um, really dumb double entendres in this, like assets like her around is a little on the nose or ass. I don't know. And they're oh yeah,
So,
they're kind of start making out in the office too. I'm pretty sure that's not considered legit office behavior. So
and I didn't get what she meant by when she kissed him, like, to show you I'm not 30.
I
What?
ch- oh yeah, I can't count that high.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. To prove you, I can't count that. Yeah.
So I thought that was a really strange scene. Also, it's just like, George, you're lusting after the wrong person here for 100% sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And what good are your chances when you got every guy in the office, and including the boss, hitting on her?
Yes, yeah, I thought I really did think he was going to come in and like change the scene, which did not happen.
Mhm.
Because at first, oh, I agree with Mr. Watson's bluster, but the bluster instantly got kind of stupid. Yes, Mr.
They, sh-
Watson quickly became a little creepy as well.
they should have had the boss from Willoughby coming there. Push, push, push. You all gotta
It
push, push, push.
that actually kind of crossed my mind, I think, when he came in, just as your little character actor bit with to push in the episode, sure. I did like that his dog was Attila the dog. That was great.
Attila the Hun dog.
Yeah. Well, in this case, he's Attila the dog, right? He doesn't call him a Hun, so I
Did
thought
you like
Attila the
how it
dog worked.
changed into a different type of dog every dream sequence?
Well, the first one I thought he had just been poodled up, like you take the dog to the I was it a completely different breed.
The second one was definitely not him. Do you remember when he got out of the car and it jumped on his back and he's like,
Ye-
"Oh, not now, boy."
yeah, no, I do remember that dog looking very different, but I was like, dog makeup did something, but
And then, sorry to cut you off. His third wish, real quick, he had like a terrier, like some type of terrier,
yeah.
Scottish
So
terrier.
okay, I guess I'm not. I mean, I'm not. I guess I'm not enough of a dog person. No. To not to offend all the dog. Hey, I had a dog growing up. We had a dog and a cat, so I'm covered on both my bases. uh, let's see what else we got here. I wrote Kazam, okay. Shazam with starring Sinbad, the movie that doesn't exist. That's kind of fun.
They need to come out and announce they just have like an anniversary release of that or something, just so people can shut up about it.
Yeah.
You'd be like, "No, it is real."
Jack Albertson's great, but I did write when the genie appears. I was hoping for Barbara Eden more than him, so which is not what we got.
So I
Uh,
like to think that this was the same character as he was in the shelter, and he somehow just got trapped in a bottle and
yeah,
was made to
sure,
be
why
a
not?
genie. And then
It,
after this episode, he went on to become Grandpa Joe. So,
yes, well, he got
or
stuck in bed.
was the
He got
Poseidon
stuck in
Adventure
bed.
before?
Poseidon
Before?
Adventure, I think, was 73, if I'm correct. See how I'm now curious how close I get. Oh, 72. Okay, 71 for Willy Wonka, 72 for the Poseidon Adventure. So very close.
Oh, it makes even perfect sense. So he became Grandpa Joe, and then once he was able to walk again, he went on the Poseidon Adventure.
He went on
He
a
went on the
cruise. They
boat.
had some money.
Yeah.
They were flush with money. They own the factory now, and he could do that. He doesn't have to live in a I mean, the bed was already a upscale from the lamp, I guess. So I don't know what he did. Was the subject was roses?
um, what was with the name Georgie Porgy? Like,
It's just a
and
early '60s nickname, I guess.
you know Dice Clay, right?
One more time.
Andrew Dice Clay, the
Yes, yes,
comedian.
yes. Oh God,
And
his nursery rhymes. Is that what we're getting at?
yeah, did you that nursery rhyme pop into your head during that? Because it did me. Maybe I'm just too dirty minded.
Now that you bring it up, I there was something that I couldn't quite put my finger on, and that might have been it. Regular guest Andrew and I would listen to his tapes of those, in like 1991 a lot. The Day the Laughter Died. When you're 12 years old, that stuff's just hysterical, isn't it? Um,
Yeah,
who plays in my car now? Because I have a not yeah, we'll call it a broken iPod, but it still interfaces with my car, and I can't put anything new on it. But it does have like 5 George Carlin albums, 2 David Crosses, a Patton Oswalt, all of Bill Hicks's albums, I think. So those I get played in a loop in my car a fair amount. So
Uh, Patton Oswalt. Man, I'd like to hear that one.
oh, if any, I highly recommend his bit about meeting George Lucas in the past. That's one of my favorite comedy bits ever. It's it's something like I will on YouTube. You can look it up like I will kill George Lucas with a shovel or something like that. But yes, I love that little bit of stand-up comedy. This I guess that I yeah, Jack Albertson. I didn't quite recognize him at first because yeah, he is kind of coming in and doing a bit of a stand-up comedy vibe, you know? Like
I'm just gonna chalk it up. He's unrecognizable in black and white because I barely recognize him in the shelter, and then I kind of recognize him, don't recognize him. Is it black in the mustache?
that
Is
the
it no
mustache is
mustache?
part of it, yeah. Because you take the mustache off, and it's like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
he hit his prime at age, 69 and no, excuse me, 64. That would be 1971. He would have been 60, no, no, 63, 64. Yeah. So he hadn't quite decanted yet. He needed a few years yet, I guess.
It would have been funny to see Jack Albertson come out with the pointy boots and the big poofy hat and
Yeah, yeah. Well, of course,
kind of like George did at the end of the episode,
right.
you
I was
know.
about to say you still get it, just
Yeah.
not with Albertson. Mm. Did he
So
reference the last Genie episode when he was like, "We used to do 3 wishes, but it kept going poorly"? I felt like they were like
yeah.
I felt like it was a weird meta reference, which you don't get in the
And when he
Twilight
told him to
Zone.
think about it, like if Genie ever does that, like
Hey, that's well, the
sleep
genie
on it.
on your screen does. Doesn't the Robin Williams genie tell you to think about it a
Oh
bit?
yeah, I guess so. I am
Yeah.
forgetting the Genie on my screen.
Right, right, right. Look no
No,
farther than
but
your screen.
I'm more used to like the bad type of people with the genies that are like, no,
Right.
like you just
You,
deal with your like you'll see in Cliffordville. You just deal with your consequences. You'll
you're
just deal with
Jafar. Mm.
yeah.
And then he gives him Zen
Jafar.
advice. He gives him Zen advice. He's like, you don't wish for love, you find it. Don't make that wish.
Yeah. Oh, I like I was listening to the radio version of this episode today. Just to kind of see because I like listening. Do you ever listen to the Twilight Zone radio dramas?
I've listened to a few, but the thing is, if they were on my phone, I'd probably listen to them. But since they're on my Blu-ray, I'm more inclined. I'm like, here's the episode. I'll watch the episode.
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because sometimes it's like the period is like 2002. So
Right.
and the celebrities you get at that time, like you'll get Adam West in an episode. I
Yeah,
think
I
he
see
does. I
that.
think
That's
he
the
did the
biggest thing. Yeah.
Passersby.
Mm.
He either did Still Valley or the Passersby, one of those Confederate episodes.
Right, because and then like Henry Rollins is in the used car guy episode.
Yeah,
Uh,
Jason Alexander and I guess who was in I Dream of Jeannie? Do you remember the comedian Hal Sparks? He was very like D level, like very.
I guess I don't because I did, I do look at the at least what it says on the Blu-ray, like who's starring in that particular
He was one of
radio
those like
drama.
talking heads, like in the on the like pop culture event stuff, like on VH1 channels where they talk about previous eras. Like he kind of pop up on those shows. Like
Yeah.
there used to be shows like I love the '90s, I love the '80s. That would be airing on VH1.
Oh, the
But
VH. Oh, VHS. I was gonna say VHS. Yes, VH1. That's correct.
so anyways, the point I was going to make, I was listening to the radio drama episode, and he says, "You don't wish for love, you make love."
Ooh.
Like, oh yeah,
But I guess we should talk about his first dream sequence, which in the construction, that's the thing. You could easily just be like, "This is the first wish," if you wanted to, because you're saying dream sequences annoy you. I mean, you could
Mhm.
kind of just be like, "This is he does
Oh, we
get
can.
3 wishes, and
I'm
this
not
is his
saying the
first
word
one."
triggers me. I'm
Yeah.
not saying you can say the word.
Um,
Yeah.
we do have the director, which I instantly thought of Dom DeLuise doing. His shtick was in Blazing Saddles a decade later, but I'm like, I guess that's the nail on the head of the director stereotype. So I'm just seeing it here too.
Mhm.
Um, let's see.
The first one he wished for to be a famous person, right? Or was what was it? Because she
He
was an
wanted his
actress.
wife, he wanted Anne to be a star, and he was going to be her, I guess, accessory husband for weird wish to make, or think about, I guess, in this case. He did not make it to
Yeah.
his credit. He's thinking about it. So,
I mean, I guess this is before the days of the Hollywood power couples. I'm like, wouldn't you say we were both like a power couple, like a successful Hollywood couple,
Right,
like the
but it
both of
seemed like
us?
in this calculus, he was not that. I mean, he might have an okay job, but it seems like he's not famous. It's just she is, you know.
Yeah.
But what do we have? The tiny luxury of a cigarette. I thought that was a weird line in 2024. Um, my martini notes are, dude, take the martini. There you go. Take two. He lost his martinis. Hmm. I was tracking the drinks and it was kind of funny.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, this is when the partying was going on in the first dream sequence, huh? Where he had the whole encounter under the table.
Yeah. And basically in the sequence, George is cucked by his own mind. He cucked
Yeah,
himself. Don't do that, dude. What
yeah.
are you doing?
Like in your own dreams, that's not how it's supposed to work. Why would Roger, the jerk, for people that don't know, he's the jerk in the office, the one that was making out with Anne and one upping him with giving gifts. Why would you have him in your dreams? Like, get him out of there. Like,
Yeah. So weird dreamer. I guess you don't want to hire more actors. That's why. But I was also just thinking, couldn't he just? Is there any rush to make a wish? The genie's not like you have to do it now, right?
well,
He,
here's one thing they said. I don't think they said this in the original episode, but he said it in the radio drama. Sleep on it. So
I,
that's what he literally did. Sleep on it.
yes, yes. Does he say it? I think he might say it here. Anyway, that was the impression I had. So, but
Yeah.
there was a second where I was not sure if he had made the wish or if it was a fantasy, and it's of course his dream fantasy. So. We did not get robbed of the wish making scene. So okay, maybe they didn't say because I wrote a note about it where I was just like wondering about it for a second. But
And did
yeah,
they ever like they told us no three wishes, but did they ever flat out tell us like how many wishes you get?
one. It's down to one wish.
Oh, it's just one. Okay,
He's,
so that's why, yeah, he made the one at the end. Okay.
that's why I'm like, just keep it in your back pocket as like a role playing game power up. You know, like that one thing that you just have and you use it when you need it. You know, he doesn't
Yeah.
need it now. His life, other than the fact that he's the office. Well, not heel isn't a wrestling heel. The office doormat. You know, that's not great. But otherwise, I guess his life is okay in a 40-year-old virgin way, like you said, right? I mean, nothing
Yeah.
seems to be off the rails. It's just most of his problem is himself.
So
And
is it I
no
just
wish is going to fix that, right?
no, it's not, I guess. I just thought of something. So he actually got blocked twice in the same dream sequence because the chick under the table too.
Yeah, yeah.
She blew
So
him off. And
yeah,
then when she found out his famous actress wife was making out with Roger, who was also in his dream.
also
That's
famous
number
it
two.
seems.
Yeah, that's number two.
George wasn't famous, but Roger was. What? Huh?
Yeah. Yeah. And then they said, I thought this was cool. They talked about they're going to be starring in Beowulf. It's like, yeah, Beowulf, dude. Hell yeah.
The motion capture one from 2007, of course, since we've been talking about 2007 animated movies.
Well, I did have to read the book in, what was it? Some, whatever high school grade it was. So
I haven't
read the book and watched the movie.
I haven't done much Beowulf. I didn't see the Zemeckis movie. Maybe I should, but I haven't. I don't think I ever
It's
had to
on
read the
Films
book.
and Filth, isn't it? On the
Be-
Films and Filth list.
I'm not sure. I don't think
I
it's
thought I heard you guys talking about it upcoming on some show for some reason.
maybe, but I feel like it's not rated that poorly. So
Maybe it was just your co-host Matt that mentioned it just in something passing because I
oh,
know
and
he
Matt,
was the
that's
one that was
Mark. But
talking
yeah,
about
Mark
Beowulf.
was mentioned. He was the
Yeah,
one
Matt.
saying,
Mark.
"Yeah, I'm Matt."
You guys are both M's. Matt, Mark, Mark. I know.
Yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
about that,
No,
man.
I get it. It's fine. That actually that used to happen a lot when we were growing up. What was I looking up? I was looking at Beowulf. I feel like it's not rated that poorly. But yeah, that's just kind of a hole in my I guess Beowulf counts as pop culture, right? Sort of. Just very old pop culture.
It kind of coincided perfectly because we had just finished the book and the movie came out like less than a year later after that. So it was like, oh, kind of cool.
Oh, it has a respectable but not great 6.3 on IMDb if anyone's interested.
Ooh,
So, I mean, that's
yeah.
just like you might like it, you might not.
I
It's
would
kind of
expect it at least like a seven something.
nope.
People be crazy on that IMDb.
But yeah, that was also an interesting. This guy just has weird fantasies, I guess is what it comes down to. I guess all of us do when we're actually sleeping, you know.
Yeah.
He would probably be better off doing this as a mind experiment, not as an actual dream.
And the radio drama, when he goes into the first dream sequence, you have no way of knowing until he wakes up from the first one with his dog licking him. You're like, oh, that was a dream, but they don't tell you for like the first or the whole time it's actually happened. Like it
No,
just jumps
same
from one
here.
thing to the
It's
other.
kind of vague here too, I think. So yeah,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure till he came out of it. So yeah.
Yeah.
The second one, he just wants to be now he wants to be the office heel in the wrestling sense of the word for a second little mind experiment here. Going aggro in the office. I have a net worth of $26,000. I thought that was funny. I'm like, I think I have a net worth of more than that now.
There was three words they used to sum up these dream sequences. It was money, power, and what was the first one though? Like it was money, power,
Love,
fame, wasn't it? Oh yeah, love, money, power, love.
love.
Yeah.
The wife is
Okay.
Anne's going to be famous. Yeah, he's just on again weird wish to have, but it is an actual dream, not a prop, not like a meditation. That's what he should be doing, probably, you know.
Yeah. I
Maybe
like
he should
how
wish for enlightenment, or is that beyond the genie's powers? Can you wish for enlightenment?
he could be like, "Listen, buddy, I'm a genie, not a miracle worker."
I did think it's funny though. It's like everyone in Richland, the land of the rich is a downer. We all talk like this. We have no humor now. Let's get down to business. I'm like, okay, another weird way to think about it. I guess. I mean, you could be rich and have some fun, can't you?
I'm not good with cars, like what types of cars or what and stuff like that, but I'm guessing that was like a Rolls Royce or something he pulled up in.
Yeah, hoity-toity car. I mean, Rolls Royce is the shorthand, so I think yeah, me too. I'm thinking Rolls Royce. Although if I looked closely at the hood ornament, I might find that's wrong. But
Yeah.
looks European. I'll give it that.
Somebody right now is like listening to this podcast. I'm like, you are wrong. Like, okay, man.
I thought it's interesting that his office was decorated with like butterfly like what do they call it when you put the butterflies on a piece of paper and display them?
Oh, I don't know what that's called, but I do like
Butterfly
that.
taxidermy. I'm sure it's not
I mean,
taxidermy,
it's
but
almost like a cemetery. It doesn't look like a cemetery, but you got butterflies that used
well,
to
it's a
live in there.
cemetery for butterflies, isn't
See,
it?
that's where I go with the Beavis thing too, because remember Beavis had a lot of little animal things around his desk.
Yeah, yeah. In our podcast, I said that was the one part of the Neverending Story 3 that I actually liked is when the tree creature ends up in the Pacific Northwest or anyway in a big forest and sees a logging operation and it's all shot like horrible murders. I was like,
Thank you
that's
guys
good
for
stuff.
taking me down Never Ending Story 3 again. It's been a while. That was awesome, that episode.
But yeah, where was butterflies was the main point. So anyway,
Yeah.
I just thought it was weird.
We're gonna go with butterfly taxidermy. There we go.
Okay, sounds good to me. $1 million. They do that $1 million, but they do it, like legitimately. I guess that's why it was funny in
Oh,
Austin Powers 35 years later.
you had a point in your notes, Freckles, and I'm guessing that was the newspaper kid. Like something about I've
Damn,
never
that
seen
kid
so
has
many freckles.
freckles.
Yeah.
Incredible. Oh yeah, yeah, that kid just had so many freckles, it blew my mind.
So he gives him $100 bill, and I don't have I don't have change for this, mister. I don't expect it, kid. Now run
Mm.
along. And so again, I have to keep bringing up the radio drama version. So to snap him out of dream sequence two, uh, it ends in the radio version with the father coming up and, hey, you handed my kid $100. How is he supposed to learn the value of a dollar by not getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning selling papers? Like you're just handing out C notes. What do you think you are? Like
Well,
I
he
was
has
like,
to, his accountants make it clear he has to keep spending money because I'm just going to quit spending money. No, you're a rich person, you have to. I'm like, that's a nasty part of capitalism, I guess.
maybe it's like Brewster's Millions. He has to spend a certain amount to
You're
inherit it
owned,
all.
yeah, you're owned by your money now, you know. Um, there's also the Magic Christian where Peter Sellers and Ringo Starr go off doing expensive pranks just to blow through some money. Um, did you notice Fred Steiner did the music here?
Oh
So
yeah, we didn't get
not
to music
Bernard.
trivia, so that's probably why we glossed over. Because does
It,
anybody
it
know
it's
Fred Steiner?
It's stock, I think, but yeah, I mean, he did a bunch of. I've done trivia on him before when he was. We're just part of the Twilight Zone now, where none of the stuff has like original scores anymore. So I've mostly stopped doing the music trivia.
I
But
didn't recognize too much music in this episode either. Like maybe during the party scene, maybe during the parade and
well,
the
I was
third
gonna
dream
say
sequence.
when he's having his rich man dread, existential dread, it has like very Citizen Kane style horn swells. So.
And
I was like, oh, and I was like, but it's not Bernard Herrmann who has done Twilight Zones. So, but yeah, it's called featured music, at least on the wiki, which makes me assume it's stock, but from the same composer, like they used it from somewhere else, you know?
The old CBS vaults.
Let's see. I guess we go on to where he wants to be the president, and which he goes directly into doing a bad Kennedy impression, you know? I guess you
Oh,
got to
I
play the part. Hmm?
can we backtrack real quick? Just
Yeah,
go back
sure.
to Dream Sequence 2. Why would that guy from the college not accept his money? I kind of didn't get that part. Maybe I just didn't hear all of it, or
I think it's like because if it's like one rich guy gives you your entire endowment, it looks bad. But if it's like the you know like the alumni community, it's like, oh, many of our alumni contributed. It's like the publicity's better. That's what I kind of got out of it. Like it's kind of like it looks bad if it's just one rich guy paying for everything. So please give us some of it, but we do have to make this, you know, a community or a alumni or whatever effort. That's how I read it. I guess he doesn't say that directly, but it didn't like blow my mind too hard, I guess is what I'm saying.
no, thanks for I just don't know this episode like the back of my hand, like I do all the other, Twilight Zone episodes. Like so, thanks for kind of helping me fill that in.
Okay, well that was not for me watching this episode many times. I can tell you that.
It stuck with you though.
Well, yeah, from last night. I should hope it can stick with me that long. Um, I did think the tiny Oval Office was funny. I mean, they just tried to make it look like the Oval Office was clearly a much, much smaller room than the real one. There is a CIA reference in here, which I thought was interesting because tracking when those start to show up in TV and film. I believe North by Northwest is considered the first time we start getting a CIA sort of presence. And this is 6 years later, and now they're directly referencing the CIA a little bit. He is the president, makes sense, but yeah. I
I
was
was
just
getting
wondering.
CIA. I was getting CIA vibes in Dream Sequence 1 when he put on the shades after he got done doing that little flirting under the table. And I don't know, he was wearing the black suit, the white underneath. I mean, you're normal
Well, he's
I'm
just
just
trying to
black
look
and
cool in Hollywood, right?
and just with the shades. I don't know. I was just getting Men in Black vibes. And Men
Yeah,
in Black are kind of like CIA, but a different type of CIA.
right. Although they're the older version of the Men in Black is very different. It's like kind of creepy, alienish people that come to your house, you know?
Yeah, is that are you talking about the old Unsolved Mysteries, that
Yeah,
Men in
yeah, yeah.
Black?
I'm
Yeah.
talking
I
about
never
the
saw that episode,
the
but yeah.
80s, 90s urban legend version of Men in
Mhm.
Black, which has been supplanted, of course, by because now the Men in Black are cool and it's Will Smith, right? Tommy Lee Jones, we'll give him his cool points. Why not? I'll give Rip Torn his cool points. um, Rip Taylor too, if you want.
Yeah. Anybody named Rip?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Rip is an awesome name. Especially Rip Torn. It's like saying the same thing twice, you know? I guess it's present tense, future, or past tense. So I
Rip
also
Van
was
Winkle too.
another part, I guess it's the dream Oval Office, so it's fine. But yeah, the Capitol building is like right there. I'm like, that is not where the Capitol is at all.
How dude, that parade was like as big as a homecoming parade from the war.
Yeah.
Like all the GIs just came home from World War II and they're like, yeah. Like that looked way too big just for the president. I know the president's
Also,
a big deal, but
again, they could not have put that scene in this episode 6 months later, or
no, they couldn't have.
6, 7, 8 months later, excuse me.
Yeah, they
So I
definitely
was
couldn't have.
that was a weird premonition. I'm like, ooh, 1963, we got this scene. But hey, most of the year you don't know, do you? Unless you're in the CIA, then maybe you knew. Um, let's see. Might want to close it. Yeah. Oh, yes. What derails him as president? Apparently, he's extremely conscientious as president. You know, what? No other president puts this much effort into the job. You know. Um, but
No.
so what derails his presidency? UFOs. I'm like, oh, you know what? The whole world's gonna be screwed in that case. But he just he instantly like crumbles. Well, no, I did do, you know. So he just kind of pussyfoots out. So I guess but yeah, why is that the thing that put the crimp in his fantasy? You know,
He
UFOs.
I guess he got so distraught from having to make an important decision because he
Yeah,
didn't feel like he's like, oh, he's kind of like one of those like he gives out the vibe like I'm not important enough to be here kind of people. So
right.
it's like with this now you're putting yourself in the most important role you could ever be in.
Okay,
You gotta
maybe
have.
that was the funniest part of the episode. I'm not quite sure if I'm laughing at it or with it, but maybe a little of both. Yeah. So anyway, I just thought that was funny. Suddenly, UFOs. Here we go. And then his what he makes in the end is the Jafar wish, isn't it? He wants to be the genie, which we've all seen Aladdin. I'm assuming from your screen with the genie there
Yep.
that that's not a good wish to make. Jafar instantly regrets making that wish.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't want to become the genie because then you know when you never know when you're coming back out of the bottle.
Right. Well, the lamp in this case. It was a bottle
Yeah.
last time, yes.
Oh, I'm getting my Twilights a little mixed up. And
It happens.
I was thinking of the Christina Aguilera song too. I'm a genie in a bottle. You got to rub me the right way.
Oh, right, right, right. Yeah, got that. Another form of genie. I guess she made the Jafar wish as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just funny as a modern viewer, you're like, no, no, don't make that wish, man. That's a bad idea. Like it should have we should have had the stronger O. Henry twist, where that
I
turned
mean,
out to be a bad
I
idea.
was kind of bugged by that, him doing that, but he seems like he wants to please people.
What did Albertson do if he's not
Yeah,
a
did he
genie
like
anymore?
just get sent on a vacation?
He works in the office now.
Yeah.
That's probably what happened. He works in the office. Oh yeah, yeah. I do like the Aladdin sequels, which are not nobody needs to watch those, but it insinuates that the genie comes right back from his vacation after being freed and just hangs around with Aladdin. So that's yeah.
A couple of years ago on Disney Plus, I rewatched the first Aladdin, then I watched Return to Jafar. And
Oops.
then I was like, do I really want to watch the third
The
one?
third's
Because I
better
didn't
than
even
the
watch the
second.
third one as a kid. I didn't even
Third's
watch the
better
first.
than the second one. Robin Williams is back. It actually has somewhat of a story. I think a TV series came between those two movies, so it's kind of like capping off the TV series. Not that anyone really needs to watch this stuff. From the occult Disney one, I've been watching like Recess, School's Out, the Dog movie. I mean, if you like the show, sure, but otherwise, there's really no reason to be watching those, unless you're
Yeah.
doing a podcast or something.
Yeah. All the touch of nostalgia too. Sometimes I'm like, oh, if I grew up on this 90s product,
See,
like,
I
oh,
don't even have
let me
those.
watch
Like,
it.
that recess. I'm like, no. So Aladdin, I might have like a little bit more for. I mean, I watched the original movie
Well,
several times and liked it, of
I'm
course.
not
But
going to watch the Recess movie again. I'll just stick with your guys' podcast.
yeah,
But there's some shows. There's some shows.
it was reasonably fun to watch though. I just
Although
it had no nostalgia for it, you
that
know.
Recess School's Out movie, I remember being a kid at the time and actually going to the theaters to see it because I was the demographic for that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I was way out of that demographic, so I didn't even know that was a thing till a month ago.
Hmm.
But anyway, yeah, we're talking Disney. But I guess that makes sense when you have a genie, a very different genie. But yeah, yeah, George P. Handley would hate the movie Aladdin. I'm sure. Uh,
So I have a question. What's your thoughts about Roger in this whole episode? Does he need a good punch in the kisser, you think? Or he seems like
Probably.
a big butthead to put it lightly.
Yeah, he's the alpha male, the
A thorn in
toxic
the side,
the
too.
toxic masculinity of that particular office. In multiple ways. Yeah. So he's toxic masculinity, basically.
Because like when he bragged about getting the promotion too in the episode, he was like, "Oh, I'm going to be the head of accounting, Georgie Porgy, Porgy, Georgie, Georgie Porgy." Like
Yeah,
he
yeah,
loves to
yeah.
rub that in his face. Like,
He's just the toxic dude. Yeah, that's excuse me,
so I
Roger.
guess I think you described it right, alpha male, kind of
Hmm.
like he's the alpha of the office.
I mean, it's kind of a parody again of the 50s male tropes, you have to be strong in all things. You're looking for adventure. You show no weakness, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, yeah, maybe he's can have his own crises and the inside, and we can make a Twilight Zone out of those. Might get a better Twilight Zone out of those. Um, Although that's the thing at this point, it's not like the I'm painting this as a horrible person or a fine person, which the first two seasons of Twilight Zone are very much on the nose, like this person is great or this person sucks. Where by season four, they are giving you a little bit more latitude to think about it, like um even I keep bringing up miniature and you legitimately that guy legitimately makes your skin crawl in a realistic way, I think. Excuse me. George B. Hanley doesn't piss me off, It's like, dude, grow a spine, but otherwise he's not that offensive. Roger's more offensive, like you're saying, or like I guess we are now saying.
Mhm.
Did I make a point there? Yeah, it's one of those times where I was finishing. I'm like, am I actually making a point? I don't know.
You mean no, but Roger, he just has to be the leader of the wolf pack. That sea of men, he has to, and the one woman that's in the office,
Yes,
somebody's got
yes.
to
He's
control
wolf
the
pack
herd,
and
I
he's
guess, control the
dragging
pack.
his lady by the hair. Yeah. The club in hand, other
So
hand.
before, I know we already said about how he becomes a genie when he finally makes his wish,
He
but
looks happy about it.
to get us to see that, there's an old man sitting in the exact same stet, which looks like from Dead Man's Shoes. Like looks like the exact same like back alley.
He's luckier than the guys in Dead Man's Shoes then.
I was almost wondering, I was wondering if he was going to pick up a pair of shoes next, but no, I thought that was weird. And just like him, just like George, you know what you're doing when you're rubbing a lamp. Like they like to say, "Oh, is that a dirty spot?" No, you rub the lamp. You know what you're doing when you rub the lamp. Because I feel like the stories of genies have probably been around for hundreds of years,
Right.
even before like television was invented.
Have you rubbed a lamp?
Yeah. He rubbed the lamp because he's like, "Oh, it's a little dirty.
No,
Here,
I'm just saying
rub
in
it."
life. I've polished brass before, and I
Yeah,
wasn't expecting a genie out of whatever I was polishing.
it was
Uh,
funny. The radio drama version, it has the homeless guy like stumbling and like singing to himself, going, "Well, I'm gonna have a drinky and I'm gonna go to bed."
oh, here we
Starts
go.
mumbling.
No, I did not expect genie. When I was growing up, I was an acolyte at my parents' church, and they have all the communion and stuff. I do remember once or twice needing to clean the thing that the wine or the bread goes in. That's kind of like a lamp. Genie could have come out of that, I guess, or
Yeah,
Jesus could have come out because it was at a church. What would you think of that if you rubbed the lamp and Jesus came out?
I'll be like, "You're not Robin Williams."
No, my son, I'm
Lord.
not. Okay. Or Brian, as in Monty Python, Brian, not regular co-host Brian. Um, yeah, you get him coming out of your lamp. He's very confused and bewildered, and he doesn't know why he's there. Uh, let's move on to the questions. The first one being, who, if anyone, goes into the Twilight Zone in this episode?
Okay, this is where I have to ask you, okay? So Shadow Play was a dream sequence. I
Nightmare
guess
sequence.
like a night he kept reliving it over and over again.
Yeah.
See, that's what's weird. Okay, so I guess that doesn't bug me, but that's kind of like a dream sequence if you
He
think
also
about
seems
it.
trapped in it, where
Yeah,
George is just sleeping.
but I was gonna ask you, can we count dreaming about something as entering the Twilight Zone? Or when it becomes a genie, is that considered entering the Twilight Zone?
Going by how I usually go about this, I would say the dreams absolutely do not count as the Twilight Zone because he's literally it's subconscious, but he's thinking about it. Oh, yeah, unless you want to call the subconscious Twilight Zone. But the only thing that I would say is a run-in with the Twilight Zone is run-ins with the genie and the supernatural wishing powers, so that's his run-in with the Twilight Zone. We get one scene at it near the beginning, and we get a scene at the end when he's now the genie. Those are the only like pure Twilight Zone sequences, I would say. But he's definitely in the Twilight Zone for those sequences, and it certainly changed his existence. I'm not even gonna say life, because what are you when you're a genie now, you know?
Okay, we're gonna count two people then who went to the Twilight Zone.
Are genies undead?
Are they? They just
I
live
don't
a really
know.
long time, I think.
Okay, I'm gonna look up if genies are
They're like
undead or
Yoda.
not.
They just live a
Yeah,
long. I mean, Yoda eventually died, but
yeah.
he was
Maybe that's
around
what.
forever.
Okay. Anyway, so make your point. I'm gonna sit here and see what genies are. I guess they're jinn from. So they'd be like spirits, really, right? So you can't become one. Anyway, I'm gonna look it up.
I was
What
gonna
were?
say, I think the dog we have to count on going to the Twilight Zone because the dog becomes a genie too.
Oh, and he turns into other breeds. But he's in the
Yeah.
dreams. Oh, he's at
No,
the end.
no.
Yes,
When I'm
yes,
at
he is.
the end, when he's
Yeah.
holding him, when he's got the big poofy hat and everything.
Wow, it's really hard just to look up a genie. Okay, Jinn. It's giving me Jinn. That makes more sense. Invisible creatures and
Oh, this is
pre-Islamic
like Wishmaster.
Arabia.
Sorry, go ahead. I was cutting
Yeah.
you
I'm
off.
just trying to see what, like humans, they are accountable for their deeds and can be believers or disbelievers, depending on whether they accept God's guidance. Um, Islam acknowledged spirits from other religions, blah blah blah. Jinn and not. It's a mixture of pagan and Islamic thought. Okay, this is interesting, but I haven't really. Um, Jinn are parallel to humans, also subject to God's judgment and afterlife. Composed of thin, subtle bodies and can change at will. They favor a snake form. Okay. They can have sex with people. You
That's an
can
interesting fact.
they can they can possess people and be exorcised. Do not usually meddle in human affairs. So it seems there's spirits that can eventually die and be judged. I don't know. Interesting. Okay. Now I am looking straight up at the, Jinn. There's also a DJINN, which
That's what I thought you were talking about because that's Wishmaster. Have you ever seen the movie Wishmaster?
like in the 80s on TBS channel 17 in Atlanta.
It was like he's an evil one where he really twists your wishes, and once he gets the third wish, he gets to take over the world.
Anyway,
But yeah,
to catch you up on that, when I clicked on that link, it just sent me back to the JINN. So it's just a variant
okay.
spelling.
There's many different ways.
So okay, the dog and not Roger, but George and the
George P.
dog.
Ham.
Is
Yep.
that who went into the Twilight Zone?
Yep.
So does
George.
George deserve this little milquetoast man who can't make decisions? The dog,
Well,
I don't know. What did dogs deserve? The dog in the hunt didn't deserve to die. But he got to stick with his master. That's nice. Here, this dog becomes a djinn, I guess. He's now a spirit parallel to humans. Does the dog deserve that? Oh, excuse me, a spirit parallel to other dogs.
dog does not deserve it. He's an unwilling participant.
George thought about it a lot, so I guess he deserves whatever
George got
happens
what
as
he
a
deserved
genie.
because he rubbed the lamp. You rub the lamp, you get what you deserve. That's what it should say on the. That's what it should say on the lamp. You
I
rub
mean,
the
you could
lamp.
not complicate your life and not take the wish. And that's always an option that no one takes in media because then you wouldn't have much of a show or
Yeah.
book or whatever. You wouldn't have much of a story. Yeah. But yeah, George deserves whatever he gets, and I don't even know if that's good or bad in the end, Like, because I assume he's just starting his career as a genie. It could go sour real quick for all we know.
Yeah, I feel like if anyone this kind of neat, oh, I can't believe I would be saying this, but it would need like a follow-up, like check in, see how he's doing, like in the next time he's summoned in between the now and the next time, like, hey,
And
are
just
you
wa-
you
just
still
watch
like
the next to last scene of Aladdin after this, where
it?
Jafar becomes a genie, and just assume that's what happens if you wanted some fun.
You try to corrupt his powers too much.
Yes, yes. Let's tripometer it then. Of course, 0 is not trippy at all. 5 is extremely trippy. What do you want to give this one?
You know, I originally had 0 written down, but then we've been kind of talking about how the genie is the Twilight Zone and seeing him and stuff like that.
Right?
That's got to account for some trippiness.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go with a hard, solid 1.
Okay. I was only thinking about 1.5. 1, I don't know. I guess genies can be trippy. Aladdin has some very trippy sequences, so I shouldn't say that. But okay, bottom line, they've already done this episode. Like more
Yeah.
than anything else in the
Well, hang
Twilight
on.
Zone. They've
I,
done
I
they've
was
done this.
thinking, I was thinking this could have been a prequel because maybe he turns into Man in the Bottle in season 2. So
Possibly.
this is a
Well,
prequel.
okay, there's your follow-up if you want to go that way.
Yeah.
Still, they've literally done this episode before.
Yeah.
When I
Yeah.
saw it on the list, I was like, didn't we already do this? And when I watched the episode, I was still like, didn't we already do this? So, what I say 1.5, I for whatever reason, I was think maybe genies are slightly trippier for me. But not that trippy. It's more, yeah. You can make trippy sequences around genies. I guess that's what I'm saying. But yeah, not much going on here. Like I liked the episode a little bit more than you did, I think, but I definitely did not think it was very trippy. Comedy episodes of the Twilight Zone can be trippier than this, no question. So because I do feel like that when they're trying to be funny, that instantly keeps it from getting too trippy because now you're being too self-referential, I guess.
Yeah. It's yeah. They're just gonna say, yeah, it's not too trippy. It's just not up. Definitely not. That's why I stick with my 1.
Looking at maybe I should have a look at my season 4 list and see if this is it's not easily accessible, but yeah, I feel like this might be the least trippy one because Jezebel turned that was exploitation and it turned
Were,
out to be reasonably trippy. Yeah.
were you trying to look up for a rating on it?
I was actually trying to look up a list of season 4 Twilight Zone episodes. Actually, I have a list at the bottom of
Okay.
my page on this
Well, next
episode.
one you're gonna be getting a classic new exhibit.
Oh
Unless
yes,
you've
that
already filmed it, or you already
no
ahead of
no
yourself.
no no no. That is the next one I'll most likely record, but I have not watched it or recorded it yet. So
You
that is
noticed, I know Rod was getting lazier on this one, but you noticed we didn't get no description from the upcoming episode at the end.
oh mine I think did actually. My Blu-ray I think did. So um but he's not on screen doing it. It shows you clips from the episode now. So in that way, it's lazier. Yeah. Because he's rare. This is when he's rarely on set. I don't think he's on set for this one. Season 4, he's just always on a very sparse background where they just did like 7 of them all at once. Um, let's see. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna call this. Oh, He's Alive was one of those. Maybe it's a 0 because it's 2 real episodes. So you got that.
Well, the guy saw the ghost of Hitler. That's got to account for some trippiness.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
But we were like, he's a Nazi, so it's 0, or this is so crazy. So I didn't quite agree with Luke's it's a 0 or a 5. I was perfectly happy to put it like a 2.5, I believe.
Hmm.
And if I don't actually remember. I don't remember what I give these episodes, and you might give it a different rating a different day. So, it's super subjective. I guess we'll wind this one down unless you got a final thought you want to throw out on the Genie.
I guess two things. I want to try to read a closing narration,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
then
yes, go for
I
that.
want to I know I've noticed this watching older shows now, and they use the word jerk a lot in this episode, and jerk had a way different definition than it did now, like
Oh,
back then.
can you tell me that before you do the closing narration then? What was the older? I'm thinking soda jerks. I don't know. Does that
No,
fit in?
jerk is like, oh, I'm a fool, I'm silly, like I'm dumb. And now jerk means like a-hole.
Okay. Oh, okay. I can see that. Yeah, yeah.
Like a loser. That's what back then it used to mean like loser. Now it means a-hole. Like
Right.
what?
Okay.
How did that in years transcend to that? Like
Yeah, I
what?
guess when Steve Martin was the jerk, it was still like kind of a loser, right? So,
Mhm. Well,
um,
well, he could
was it
really
80s
well,
sitcoms? Did 80s sitcoms do it?
I don't know. I don't know
Because
if 80s sitcom. I've just been
I,
noticing in the 60s mainly. 60s
cause,
stuff.
yeah, I'm just no, I'm just sitting here thinking of something like Full
Oh, in the
House.
70s too. I noticed in the 70s.
I'm thinking of
So
something like Full House where they'd be like, "You're a jerk," right?
yeah.
So by
Oh,
that
are you
time,
saying when
it's
they
changed.
started the other meaning?
I'm
You're trying to
thinking
say
80s
like,
sitcoms is when the change happened. Yeah.
yeah,
Because I feel like Family Ties, Growing Pains, people are called jerks all the time.
yeah.
So, haven't watched most 80s sitcoms since the 80s. So I am working on like old set of data here. But, okay, go ahead and do that closing narration then.
All right. Mr. George P. Henley, former vocation, jerk. Present vocation, genie. George P. Hanley, a most ordinary man, whom life treated without deference, honor, or success, but a man wise enough to decide on a most extraordinary wish that makes him the contended, permanent master of his own altruistic Twilight Zone.
So they do paint the positive brush on it in the end, which makes sense for this episode. I'm just being snarky by assuming eventually it's going to quickly go south like it did in the
You're
last
like, is he
episode.
really the own master of his Twilight Zone? Or is he going to be
Um,
somebody else's master?
well, yeah, Genie has a master, right? He's the master of the lamp. He does have the omnipotent powers, but that's the curse of the genie. Not necessarily the jinn, but the genie requires a human basically to make their powers work, right?
Yeah. And
So he
well,
needs
if we
that
do
old
want to go
man.
to the gin, I don't know which version. I'm just going by the Witchmaster version. You got to rub the ruby to summon that gin.
See,
You blow on it, you rub it, that activates.
maybe this is one. Well, this is one where I could have called Luke, except then he'd be like, "Why'd you put me on the stupid comedy episode?" But yeah, genies have to fit in somewhere into like there must be Pokemon equivalents of genies and Jin and such.
Yeah.
I assume he can correct me later when he listens.
It would have been a trippier genie if it was the Robin Williams genie, because then he can change it to anything.
Oh well, the Robin Williams genie's always trippier.
Wasn't that
There's some
like
Ed Sullivan for you.
that was perfectly made for his comedy? You know what I mean? Because he could literally turn into anything like he acted as. Like,
Well, they just put him on a mic and let him go nuts, and then animated to that. So
yeah.
Ed Sullivan's there because he said it.
Wines of Coke may or may not have been present.
I don't think they were by 93. So he was very clear about how much he used to do. So I feel like by 93 he might not.
The Mork and Minnie days, probably.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I already used to walk around the set with no pants.
Well, sets get hot, you know. Um, again, regular co-host Andrew used to do rock shows in his boxers because clubs are hot, I guess.
Well, the viewers don't know this, but I am doing this podcast in just a boxers and t-shirt
All right, I'm already in my
because
work clothes.
it's
I'm I'm,
103.
I'm a professional. No,
Well, you know
I
what I finally noticed the other day. So you start your day off after this, right?
yeah, that's right.
So it's like you're going to work, you got to look professional. I'm like, that's why you always look so spiffy.
I guess well, sometimes I'm doing a plaid shirt and a t-shirt. So
Mhm.
there's many from colder months with if people do watch this on YouTube. I'm wearing like an orange shirt and a flannel shirt. And if anyone's wondering, I own about 8 of those orange shirts. It's not the same one. I'm one of those guys where I'll buy like 8 of the same socks. So when they start to wear out all at the same time, I can just throw them away and buy 8 of a different sock. Is that
Yeah.
nuts? I think that's smart. I don't know. It sounds weird when you say it, but I think it works out practically. It's that whole thing. You don't have to think about what you're going to put on, you know, just grab it, do it, and when it wears out, they all wear out together. So
Or you could be like Peter Griffin and just buy a million white shirts.
yes.
And
Well,
you always have a white shirt.
that's an interesting thing in Japan because you know, people do laundry every day in Japan. So
Yeah.
you will see people where they're just wearing literally are wearing the same t-shirt every day, or like every Wednesday, they're always wearing the same shirt, you know?
Ooh.
So I feel like we don't do that so much in America. If you see someone wearing the same clothes the next day, it's like, dude, did you do an all-nighter or something?
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
and sorry, was did you want to comment any more on that
Oh, no,
closing
I
or
have nothing else. Yeah,
oh,
we're
you just want to
good.
do the close? That's
We
fine.
could put a
Okay.
bow on this.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll just plop on into it. You hang out at our Patreon, so I guess I'll just go straight to that thing where on Patreon we're at Podcastius, where you get these episodes a little early, sometimes very early. You mentioned Wally, that doesn't actually come out till like August, so
Oh, damn.
but you can hear it now on our Patreon and with a little more extra jibber jabber, especially at the end. Sometimes like, oh crap, it's still recording. Should this be here? Um, So you can enjoy those moments as well for this podcast, for Films and Filth, where we talk about what IMDb says is really good and really bad movies. Excuse me, IMDb users say that. Podcast 1999, talking about Space 1999. And for the gamer, you got Luke Loves Pokemon, and you got the Game Show, where gamers game against each other. I think that rattles it all out. So, um, what's your one wish? You've had time to think about it. Make it. No more time. Make your wish.
Oh, I wish Robin Williams was the genie in this episode.
Okay, I'll back you up on that one. Well, without throwing Albertson under a bus because I do like him. So
No, he just didn't have enough time. He didn't have
there you
enough
go.
time to spread his wings.
Sneeze right at the end. Okay. I think that's after the cut anyway. We'll see. I'll be on uh Sony Acid. Well, it's not Sony Acid anymore, actually. It's whatever it is, Acid, trying to figure out where the cut is.
Now, if they would have gave Jack Albertson a musical number and he would have danced again, then maybe he would have made a better genie.
That would have put him more in Robin Williams territory, wouldn't
Yeah.
it?
I
Get
got a
high. We
golden
could have had him getting high.
ticket.
Yeah, you've got a golden ticket. You've got a wish, man. Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and hit the record then and say bye to I guess you're listening. I'll say goodbye to you later, not necessarily now. Okay.